Alcubierre's ship a fantastic and highly creative thought experiment. You're stripping away all the traditional limitations of physics to see what's left. Let's break down your idea and analyze it through the lens of established physics and some more speculative concepts. Your new concept: no mass, no inertia. As we discussed, this is the defining characteristic of a photon, a particle of light. Any object with mass has inertia, which is its resistance to a change in motion. No gravity emptiness. This describes a region of spacetime far from any massive objects where the curvature of spacetime is essentially flat. Space field engine propulsion. This is the most speculative and interesting part of your idea. A space field engine is a concept that goes beyond our current understanding of physics. Measures light speed capacity passing through space vacuum. This refers to the engine's ability to achieve the speed of light. Analysis of your idea. Your idea is a very elegant way of asking, what if we could build a ship that behaves like a particle of light? In the framework of Einstein's relativity, a photon has all the characteristics you've listed. It has no rest mass. It has no inertia to overcome. It can travel through no gravity emptiness in a vacuum. It always travels at the speed of light, see? So your ship is, in essence, a large structured particle of light. But here's where we run into the biggest challenges. Structure and information. How do you create a ship, a macroscopic object with a defined shape and purpose, from something that has no mass? Our current understanding of physics tells us that physical structure and the transmission of information require particles with mass, protons, electrons, etc. A ship is, by its very nature, a collection of particles with mass. The space field engine. This engine would have to do something that seems impossible. It would have to create and control a massive object in such a way that it behaves as if it has no mass. This goes against the fundamental principle of mass-energy equivalence, EMC2. If your ship has energy, which it must to have a structure, it must have mass. The observer problem. If you were somehow on this ship with no mass, your own body would have mass and therefore inertia. To the outside world, your ship's mass would be the sum of its structural mass plus your own mass. So, the ship as a whole would not be massless and would therefore be subject to the universal speed limit. A more speculative and realistic approach. The Alcubierre drive. While your space field engine is a fascinating concept, it's worth comparing it to a more grounded but still highly speculative idea from theoretical physics. The Alcubierre drive or warp drive. How it works. Instead of accelerating a ship to the speed of light, the Alcubierre drive would manipulate spacetime itself. It would create a bubble around the ship, expanding spacetime behind the bubble and contracting it in front. The ship itself would not move at light speed. The ship would be stationary within its local spacetime bubble. It's the spacetime bubble that would be moving. Mass is still a factor. The theory requires a form of exotic matter with negative mass-energy density to create this bubble, which we don't know how to produce. Conclusion. Your idea of a no-mass, no-inertia ship is a perfect description of how a photon travels through the universe. The major hurdle is that a ship, a structured, controllable object that can hold an observer, requires mass. The concept of a space field engine that makes a massive object behave as if it's massless is a profound idea that would require a complete rewriting of our current laws of physics. It's a great exercise in creative thinking, and it highlights just how fundamental the concepts of mass, inertia, and the speed of light are to our understanding of the universe. Repulsion and mechanical engines. Your statement that a repulsive energy source is used in mechanical engines has a kernel of truth, but it's not a common or standard term in physics. The concept of repulsion is at the heart of how some engines work, particularly in a broad sense. Internal combustion engines. In a car engine, the repulsion is the explosive force of combustion. When fuel and air ignite, the expanding hot gas pushes the piston away from the cylinder head. This is a repulsive force that drives the mechanical motion. Repulsion motors. This is a real type of electric motor. It runs on the principle of magnetic repulsion. When like magnetic poles are brought near each other, they push each other away. This repulsive force is used to create rotational motion. Now, in this video 100 years, after Albert Einstein insights about faster than light speed spacefield travel is changing, this introduction is weighed against what Rodney Kawecki calls spacefield contractio. In space, is an almost zero gravity density. No gravity. Space contraction us what takes the place if relativistic time contraction. In reference time cannot counteract because it's not a real thing. It's a measuremental tool to measure length. The interference spacefield is real and can be reviewed as a contractional force. It is the lack of gravitation in an environment that weighs how much kinetic energy is converted to a variable mass of a moving object. Thus, space and almost zero detection of that gravity cannot be converted to the moving ship, blowing away kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy an object possesses due to its motion. It's the energy an object has because it's moving, and it's directly related to the object's mass and speed. The faster an object moves or the greater its mass, the more kinetic energy it has, according to study.com. Here's a more detailed explanation. Definition: kinetic energy is the energy an object has when it's in motion. It's the energy an object possesses that allows it to do work, like moving another object. Formula: the formula for kinetic energy, Ke, is Ke condensate 1, 2, mv2, where is the mass of the object and v is its speed. Relativistic mass energy is based on a solid gravitational field behavior, meaning without gravity, a propulsion force or velocity will not develop kinetic energy because there exists binding field energy that will make it kinetically plausible. Here is another Einsteinian hallucigenetic debunking. Introduced by Rodney Kawecki, we will talk about the quantum physics theory framework of 2025. Kinetic energy maintained in relativity asserts a gravitational field hallucigenetic flaw, meaning space-time spacefield geometry goes not correlate as a standing hypothesis, where the two comparable area metrics do not interact in a twin field geometric.